Take a trip to Charlottesville, they told us. It's going to be a great time.
Every 30 years.
Florida State falls 46-38 to Virginia in a game that was just bizarre. It had a little bit of everything, but not much defense, certainly not by the Noles.
Hope you hit the over. Boy, it was only 60.
Yeah.
Hope you flew past that.
Florida State gets behind early 14-0. It looked like it wasn't like they didn't come out ready to play. They just made a bunch of mistakes early, and then that ended up being the story of the game. A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers. Forced some turnovers by Virginia, but overall, just a really disappointing loss, especially with the Miami game next week. We thought this was a game that would really set the stage for maybe a top 5, top 6 showdown between the Noles and Miami. Instead, Florida State's going to be coming in after their first loss this season at the hands of an unranked Virginia team. Well, Virginia may be ranked.
They're going to be ranked, and that's the thing I do want to stress. Like, it's not like the olden days. You can afford a loss like this. Like, look, it's a lot of things have to be corrected if you're going to go win the rest of your games, but it's not impossible to think that could happen. And a double overtime loss on the road against, I think, a decent Virginia team, probably a 7-8 win, 9 win Virginia team. That's a good offense. Isn't going to be held that much against you. You can still go accomplish everything. You can still go get to Charlotte. You got to win next weekend though. And the defense will have to play worlds better to win next weekend, because that was by far the biggest disappointment. It wasn't Deuce's drop, not drop, kind of catch in the end zone. It wasn't Gavin Sawchuk's fumble, missed field goal. It was the defense kind of the whole game. Other than it started out pretty well, forced 2 punts on 2 straight possessions, and then one more punt right there at the end when they got the ball back in late in regulation. Other than that, they just got ran all over.
Well, and what we gave them credit for in the Alabama game is when they did have a mistake, or when the offense or special teams made a mistake, the defense came in. We talked about complementary football. That was the big talk after that game. Well, both of those turnovers early in the game, Florida State has a fumble at their own 38-yard line.
Yep.
Virginia goes right in and scores a touchdown. Then Florida State's driving. They're at the 5-yard line. They've got a chance maybe to punch it in and tie it up. Instead, Tommy Castellanos gets picked off on one of these RPO plays that he is not seeing that outside backer or whoever, or the DB that's over there, and it gets picked off, and then Virginia goes 80 yards and scores. So both those times, not only did you turn the ball over, but you let Virginia go down and score touchdowns.
And that's what's so frustrating about this loss. Look, man, losses happen, and Virginia's a decent team, and blah, blah, blah.
This is not a humiliating loss.
Not at all, but it's like you just feel like you kind of gave it to them. And now maybe Virginia would have felt that way too with their 2 crazy interceptions they threw when they had some momentum. But by God, man, like you have an offensive pass interference call on your first drive. You give them the ball at your own 38-yard line. Tommy, you got 1st and goal. That was not 3rd and goal from the 5. It was 1st and goal after Keziah. By the way, Keziah rips off 2 runs, then peace out. We'll see you next week, big dog.
Maybe he's banged up.
Maybe, yes, and I guess he was on the injury report. But, I mean, he looked good.
Yeah, he definitely looked good. He gave a good couple plays.
And get out. You save him. But you get down to the 5, like, it was such an unforced turnover, an unneeded turnover, that's where you're like, man, if you just take care of the A, B, and C of football, just the easy plays, you would have won this game, even with as bad as the defense played, because Virginia I don't feel like Virginia ever really stopped you, and even in overtime. Look, man, Tommy made a great throw in double overtime. That first overtime, that is a walk-in touchdown if he throws it. Now, Sawchuk still could catch it, but it was going to be much tougher. It was at his feet, I get it. If he makes a normal throw right there, that is a walk-in touchdown. And you just got to make plays like that. But I feel like you just left so many points out there, which could make you feel okay. Like, man, you put up 40 points or whatever it was, and you probably left 17 out there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to feel good about that, but it is something that, as the coaches talk to the players about, it's like, look, man, you guys shot yourselves in the foot. Yeah. And really, I think if you look at it defensively, that's the side of the ball that's more concerning, to your point earlier, is that wasn't necessarily just communication issues or just busted plays. Virginia ran it down their throat in the second half. They came out in the second half and basically just said, we think we're tougher than you. We're more physical than you. And then they went out and showed it. At one drive with 12 plays and 11 runs. I mean, it's just, just emasculating.
And the quarterback, it was emasculating. And I thought that drive in particular, because the quarterback, who's a nice player, hurt his hand on a 3rd down throw because he had somebody wide open on a 3rd down. That was weird. That barely happened at all. But he hits his hand on a helmet and is really holding his hand like he's not sure if he can throw the ball. Didn't matter, because they just called 8 straight runs, and they ran in the end zone for a touchdown. That was pretty emasculating. It's not going to be a fun film session. And look, we had questions about this defense even after the Alabama game. I thought
we just weren't sure,
right? Because the Alabama game, you're facing a first-time starter at home. And I just don't know how great you are on the defensive line of scrimmage. And I think maybe your best players are younger guys, except for Darrell Jackson. And I think that bore out a little bit. I was not impressed at all with the defensive line. I think the linebackers played well at all. The DBs went and made some plays, but even then it's like a lot of missed tackles in that secondary group, man. A lot of missed tackles on the defense as a whole, which hasn't really been the case.
Yeah, especially early in the game, it was a lot of guys overrunning plays, trying to go for knockout hits, and just instead of just playing the game. And you know, I do think that when you look at the defense, one of the things about them in that first game was when they hit guys, they went backwards. Alabama, like Florida State's defensive backs, linebackers, defensive line, were more physical than Alabama's players. I mean, Alabama was on their heels, and Florida State was the enforcers.
Yeah.
This was the exact opposite. Virginia finished their runs. Their running back, who I think was a North Carolina Central transfer, he
must have dominated that level.
I think
Holy cow.
He was pretty good at that level.
Really good.
But
he's about number 3, right?
Yeah.
He could play, man.
So, and he had some nice cutbacks, but also just finishing runs, and then even their receivers, you saw the receivers getting in on the act, their tight ends getting in on the act, just falling forward constantly, moving the pile. And again, you know, this defense did come up with some big plays. You had 3 interceptions. One of them didn't really matter too much because it was the end of regulation. But you really played, just to me, especially as you look at this Miami game, and I'm sure Florida State fans are watching this thinking, man, if they couldn't do much more against Virginia's running game, what are they going to do against Miami's?
Yeah, that's a fair concern. I would say this. There is a chance, right, that Virginia's offense is better than Alabama's? Maybe.
Yeah, no.
I think Virginia has a legitimate offense.
Where they had a huge advantage in this game, and I had this conversation with some people on the message boards, was Ty Simpson for Alabama was making his first career start on the road at Joe Campbell Stadium. Chandler Morris has played college football since you were in middle school.
Yes, right, yeah.
And I mean, he's about to turn 25 years old, and he was getting to play at home. So it's just a different ball game, and he was great. I mean, he did have the 3 picks, but he also rushed for 3 touchdowns.
Tough kid, kind of willed them to some touchdowns. I will say this, there was a play, you had just scored 21 straight points, thanks in large part to 2 horrible turnovers by him, just crazy decisions, and then he almost throws the 3rd. Jerry Wilson almost picks that off. It's almost a pick 6.
It would have been a pick 6.
But it's definitely an interception, and I feel like that maybe the game is over right now.
Not only is it maybe a pick 6, but then when the guy catches it and Jerry Wilson catches back up to him, he's going for the strip instead of just
Earl Little comes and tries to strip it to him. And
the guy gets another 20 yards.
It ends up being it goes from being I feel like it could have been a game-ending interception to now it's 21-21 at halftime. And they've got life again. And then you go downfield and miss. And look, these are the kind of games where you lose like this, especially in double overtime. As Norvell said afterwards, there's 25 or 30 plays. If they go a different way, you win. I mean, literally, there's a ton of them.
The Earl Little hit on the running back where he ends up breaking free for 30 yards
for
the touchdown.
The call on Deuce on the push off, the catch Deuce didn't have in the end zone. And again, I do want to say this: like Tommy made some bad plays. He wasn't perfect, but when you think about what this season can be, and you still got 9 games left and some big games, including the biggest one next weekend, I think. You kind of like just the competitive spirit of that kid. Like that throw to Randy Pittman, it's an all-time great play.
And the throw to Deuce that was a non-catch. Right? Yeah, that ended up being a non-catch.
You pointed to the wrong end zone.
It's the closest one. I can't point back there. Right. The throw to Deuce.
The hill, and over on the hill,
was a perfect throw, and Deuce, it just couldn't hold on to it. And I thought I wasn't sure there was enough to overturn it, but I'm not sure it was a catch either.
I think he's juggling it in the ball. I think it's the right call, and I do think the ACC letting everybody hear except us, we didn't get to hear it. I think that's really cool. But yeah, you look at this game and like one loss doesn't define a season if you don't let it. And I thought it was interesting how Castellanos was after the game. He's like, we're still smiling. We still think we can go do some things. Like
we got to continue to keep smiling, keep working, keep believing in one another, and stay together.
I'm curious how that's going to be received.
But I feel like it's college football in 2025. Are you going to be morose and
dude,
just head down we suck again?
I'm with you. I think that's the right approach is to be determined.
Yes.
And not get down. But
it's probably easier if you're on the offensive side of the ball too. You know what I mean? They did play well.
They had 540 yards.
514. They had 258 rushing, 256 passing, or vice versa. But
their problems were more situational and some missed opportunities. For the defense's problems were more, man, I don't know if they can get off the field against a good offense or a good offensive line.
Luckily they don't play a ton of good offenses the rest of this season. They'll see one. They'll see one next week. I think that's a good offense and a good quarterback, and you worry about how you're going to handle that. But as Tommy said, he didn't think it was the worst thing in the world that they lost this game. He thinks it'll refocus them. We'll see. I just think you go into every game from now on knowing you got a kid that can be a pretty special quarterback. I think Deuce is a dude. Clearly,
yes,
that guy made some huge plays. He's never had to do this before.
Right.
He's never been a guy on the road that goes and makes plays like that. And I know he missed the last one, but man, he made some huge plays in that game. Cromall looks like something special. Pittman was scoring touchdowns all kinds of ways. You got a lot of weapons, man. You got a lot of weapons, and I think coming out of this game, weirdly, I feel better about the offense than I did coming in. Because I think it proved it could answer, it could respond, it could be in a tough environment, and this was a pretty tough environment. It wasn't a snake pit, but it was pretty tough, and go make plays when you absolutely had to. I thought that was good to see. The defense just really worries you.
The one thing that kind of concerns me about the offense, and again, we'll go back and watch the TV copy of the game, and maybe they were right decisions. Maybe some of those decisions are made by Tommy at the line of scrimmage. But there's a lot of moments in that game where it's like, man, just man up and run the ball. And it felt like the interception down here, right? It was down here, right?
No, man, it was over there. It was
the problem is we came on the other side of the field. That's where I'm turning around.
It was all at the hill. All the bad stuff happened towards the hill.
The interception on the 1st and 5. It's like, man, you're running the ball right down their throats. Just keep running the ball.
I think that's a Tommy thing.
It is, but it's like
it shouldn't even be an option. Like you're handing the ball off.
And then I just felt like in overtime, they score on the Pittman jump pass, but that could have been a disaster. And it just felt like and then the 4th and 1.
A little too
the
cute
4th and 1
sometimes.
was I don't know what the 4th and 1 was.
Yes,
and Mike Norvell said it was just well covered. Well, it's like, well, why would you call that? That was you love Gus Malzahn loves Luke Pettibone more than he probably loves his wife. And that offensive line, they've got a bunch of old dudes.
And he loves his wife. They've been together.
I'm not saying he doesn't love his wife, but I think he loves Luke Pettibone.
Maybe as much, yeah.
And why would you not give them the chance to get that yard?
Yeah, I mean, again, though, if it works, it's everybody loves it.
But it's like, but it just felt like there was a lot of situations in this game.
I think that
where
was supposed, that
you could enforce your will
free, and they defended it well.
It just felt like there's a lot of situations where you could enforce your will, impose your will, and they chose to get cute in a lot of situations.
At the end of the day, though, you scored 35 in regulation on the road. You should have won the game.
I waited 11, 12 minutes in before I got to that.
And also they caught punts. Squirrel went and caught 2. He let the last one bounce before overtime, which was smart. And the defense did get that stop at the end of the fourth quarter to get the ball back. That was something, I guess. It would have been nice to have that a few hours before that. But overall, look, man, it's a tough loss. I wouldn't say it's a bad loss, but it's a tough loss because I do think Virginia will be ranked. They're 4-1, and they really should be 5-0. I feel like you gave the game away. I just feel like you gave the game away.
Yeah, and it's not humiliating by any stretch, but where it is frustrating is I think the assumptions people made based on the Alabama game about the defense now clearly look unfounded. It looks like the question we had coming into this game was how much of that was Ty Simpson and those guys' first game coming against a Florida State team they weren't expecting.
And then you played 2 high school teams.
Now you're just starting to really evaluate with it. But listen, maybe that's good for Tony White. Maybe this will help him because you said they learned some dudes on offense who are dudes who when their game's not going well, they're going to step up and make plays. You'd like to think that Tony White now has a better idea of who's going to be the dudes on defense.
And who aren't, maybe, more to the point. Who aren't the dudes. And also I would say this, just for if you guys are watching it on Friday night, maybe take the dogs on Saturday. Maybe Alabama's offense ain't going to do real well in Athens. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe.
Gambling advice here on the wrap.
The Vitamin Energy Warchant WRAP.
Always brought to you by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. The promo code is Warchant BOGO. That means you get buy one, get one, or buy 10, get 20.
Buy 38, get 76.
I don't know if I could do the buy 48,
buy 46, get 92 free. Yeah.
Don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. Well,
still a big game. It's still a big game, gang. Next week is a big game. And if you win that game, which is absolutely imminently, if Virginia can beat Florida State at home,
can happen.
Florida State can beat Miami at home. Yeah. If you win that game, you feel really good about everything again. You beat Miami and Alabama to start the season. You're still having a great season. Everything is still on the table. You just got to go win that game next weekend,
hopefully,
which you can do.
Maybe Norvell will play that for the team this week.
How could they not get fired up when they hear that?
For Corey Clark, this is Ira Schofel signing off from Charlottesville. This is the Vitamin Energy Warchant WRAP. Go to vitaminenergy.com. All the energy you need, especially after a game
and all
like
the vitamins.
this.
Yeah, you're going to need it.
And we'll talk to you next time.